Okay, we have a new one we're going to make, and it is the, what is it? Oh, it's the candles. It's the candle set. These are the instructions. We'll set those back here. We'll turn this UV light on. It's in the box back there. And we will get started on it. I pre-opened some of these things and made sure this was all mixed up. I did not pre-open this, but it shouldn't take me but a minute. Yeah, some strong tape on there. Okay. As we learned in the last one, now I said this was some strong or resin, that this was resin and shouldn't be worked with for kids without parental supervision. It is not real strong in the smell. I've gotten some on my hands and I didn't notice anything. Now these are pretty neat. These were in there to keep it its shape, which is pretty nice because I will be using this again. So we will save those and put those over there. Get that down in our little thing there. These are the wicks that we'll be using. We'll put those in a minute. This is our, now we're probably not going to be using the sandpaper, usually not a reason to. Now these have been pre-shook up. There's probably enough here to make 4 or more candles. I've found that there's probably about 4 candles in these bottles by making some other projects. So you could probably get 8 candles out of this. Now I've pre-shook these and I have turned them upside down so that they would be nice and mixed, and I did not pre-open them, which is what I'm going to sit here and struggle with now. Okay, got those open, and put these little spouts on them so that we can pour them in. And I suppose you could mix one of each if you wanted, or you could mix them each one in there and make some pretty cool looking candles. Now this is a lemon and this is a lilac, so we might do that. Let's just see. Let's put in some this. This actually might not make as many as I thought. It'd probably only make about 4, because this does take a lot more resin than the other one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it in short little small layers so that they will cure. Okay, so I'll do some in this one. It said it was yellow, but it really doesn't look yellow. The reason why I'm doing it in short little small layers is so that the UV light can really get in there and cure it correctly. I'm going to give it a few minutes to degas, and we're going to put our wicks in and then hit it with this little flashlight UV that I got and cure it enough to hold the wick in there, and then I'm going to put it under the big light and leave it for about 5 minutes or so. Now we've got 2 of these, so I gotta set both of them in there, and then can't get it out. There we go. And try to hold them in there evenly. Center. It's in the center. Okay, hit it with the UV here, and here, So I feel it already curing. That top part to cure so that will be holding that in there. Okay, and we'll put some UV on the underside, which is what I usually do here. Leave it for a minute or two, but we'll be back in a few minutes when that's cured, and then we'll do another layer. Okay, that's cured enough to hold those in there, and I can put another layer on there. Now I am going to mix them. I think I'm going to do some yellow on top of this one, just a little layer of yellow, just to see what it looks like. Let that cure, or let it sit for a minute and degas. So I see some bubbles there. Take something that's not too sharp. Pop any of those bubbles that you got. I have to put a little more lemon in there to really see it. So let's put a little more in there. Okay. Not this one, we're gonna do this one. My UV light seems to be strong enough to at least cure these enough that I can do my layers in between. Then I will put it under the light for the full, what does it say? 10 to 15 minutes. So I'll put it under the light for 10 to 15 minutes under the big light. Oh, let's make sure that there's no bubbles there. Notice that these ridges might have some bubbles there. So let's go along and make sure they don't, okay? This resin's pretty tough. It doesn't seem to have a lot of bubbles, but I do recommend letting it sit for a few minutes before you start curing it, so that it has a chance to degas. Okay, so now we're going to go back with the purple lilac over here. I'm just going to squeeze what I can in here. They may only make 3 candles, actually. May not make as many as I thought it would, but that's okay. This mold is going to be reusable. I'll be able to reuse it with other UV resin. And we'll do another cure on that. Let's let it sit for a minute. See all the, you might not see the bubbles here popping up, but there's bubbles popping up. So we just try to pop those, get the air bubbles loose. What I always do is, if I can't get those bubbles to come out, we're just going to hit it with a little bit of alcohol. That usually gets the bubbles. And we'll cure this layer. I'm going to cure this one because we got to add another layer. Cure these just a little bit, and even if they did blend a little, that wouldn't be so bad. It might be actually kind of cool. Right now they don't, you can't see the differences in the colors. But there we go, that's probably long enough. And then we gotta do another little purple layer here. The first one like that. That's cute. There we go. Let's make sure there's nothing there. This one may end up being cured by the time we get done with that one. Cure this a little bit more. And we'll put the last of the yellow on it. It's this one, that was the lilac. It's really low, but I bet I could get a whole candle out of it if I let it just drip into there. Probably another large candle, which I may do. Here we go. That's probably enough. Let's give that a little bit. Okay. Now this is the bottom of the candle, so when this is done and cured, you will cut that wick off flat at the bottom of it. Oops. It's okay, it's going down the wick. My wick's going to be secure in there. Okay. Looks like that's enough there. Let's get some degassing going here. It seems to degas pretty quickly. Squirts alcohol. Looks like it's all, bubbles are all gone. So we'll hit it with the light. And cure that top piece. Okay. Now we will put that under the big UV light back here, and we're going to cure it. Not just from the sides, but we're going to cure it top, bottom, sides, all that. Now you saw, if you saw my previous video, you saw that we made the little teacups. The teacups were fun, and they made some extra ones. The mold will be reusable. I'll reuse that. But here's the teacups that I made. Those are cute. And then I made one, and there's not enough stickers for 4, but there was enough resin for 4 teacups. So I made 2 that we had stickers for, and then I made 2 others that we didn't have stickers for, but I will figure something else out. This one is a clipped ear, so it's been a fixed kitty. So they're cute, aren't they? I really like them. They really turned out good. Okay, so we will be back in a few minutes when that has cured. That is still curing. I want to say that these little things usually come with a display that can stand up and display your piece, but this does not have any kind of display with it. So I'm going to be displaying mine in my cute little acrylic cabinet shelf thingy. So anyway, I see that one is rocking and rolling, so I may give him a little sanding so that he lays flatter and doesn't do so much rocking around. This one I've secured with some clear glue, this one here, so that the biscuit and the teacup will stay on the tray. And I may end up doing that with this one, but I didn't. That only came with 2 biscuits, so I don't want to use those biscuits up. I might use that for something else. But I have some other biscuits that I have made that I'm probably going to put in there. So anyway, let's check and see if this is cured. Okay, so our candles are probably cured by now. Feel nice and cured. Now I'm going to take them out of the mold. Loosen them up just a little. I bet they'll push right out. There we go. Oh, nice. Nice, nice. Oh, I guess I got it right. There's holes down in there for the wick, and I hit them both except for this one. This one I did not get. That one's down underneath there. And well, live and learn. Cut that off. Cut this off. I'm gonna have to come back and cut this shorter. And yeah, it'll have to be cut shorter. They need a little bit of curing on the sides. It's a little wet. That's what they look like. So I'll remember that. I'll make another set and remember that there is a hole down in there to stick it in, and then you just balance it up. So anyway, I missed the hole by a little bit here. See, there's my wick, and here's where the hole was. But that's okay. We'll try again. It looks like a popsicle to me. But anyway, they're supposed to sit on your little thing here. Cute. Now we're going to make these little mushrooms. Okay, here's another Make It Mini Lifestyle Series 2. We're going to make the little mushrooms. So we'll open this up and get our directions ready. We've got all of our stuff set out and supplies are ready. Now from the candle kit, you'll remember I thought there were 2 of these boxes of wicks in there, but as it turns out, this is a candle kit too. So these wicks had belonged in here, but I didn't like the way those turned out. If you see down there, there's those holes in there. You really don't need a wick all the way through it because you're not going to burn these. This is resin. You're not going to burn these. So what I'm going to do is put the wick in there, and then I'm going to pour the resin in. And that way, it doesn't need a wick all the way through, and I don't have to clip it off the bottom, which is where a lot of the problems come from when you can't get a close enough cut. You pretty much need a straight edged nail clipper to get those nice and flush, unless you're going to sand it down. But like we did in the other one, we really don't need those to come all the way through like that. We just need a little bit, and I wish I'd known that before. I wouldn't have used it all up, but I did. So now we're going to do these a little bit different. Okay, I've gotten everything opened, and it says that we're going to pour it all into this mixture. We're not supposed to mix it after we do that. So, oh yeah, I gotta put these in. Let me cut the tape off the back, or open it up, and get my wicks out. I've got one big one left. So I will take that one and cut it in half. Now, I'm going to leave one long. I'm going to leave it long for this one and then short for that one. So let me put these inside the mold. I decided I wasn't going to cut it down. I'll put these in, and I gotta get some different tweezers here that I can get down in there with. Okay. Easy peasy. Okay, so I'm gonna just take this one. Let's have these little bitty ones just down in there. Slide that in the little hole, which I actually think is a better way to do it than to put the whole thing in there. Okay. So I don't have to worry about it being too long or in there straight or whatever. Okay, so I like that. We didn't need as much for that one, but since it was long, I just went ahead and used it. See, a short one there. And just give you some idea. No, you can't see it. Thought maybe it'd show you, but it doesn't. So, pour these two in here. They're not easy to pour. Oops. I'm going to pretty much squeeze this bottle. I'm ambidextrous, so I could do this with both hands, but I'm not strong enough to do this with one hand. So I'm going to alternate. I'm going to put some of this and then some of this. I'm going to assume we're going to use most of this. I know we can make probably 4 out of it from the last one. There we go. It's showing up to, I don't know how much. And let's put some dye in there. Gotta squeeze these pretty hard, or at least I do. This dye is really hard. It's almost empty, I think. Yeah, I think it's empty. Okay, so we'll just put this in there. We're gonna fill it up to about there. Now it says don't stir it. So I guess if we need any more than this, we're going to put it in there. But it says don't stir it. It just says to pour it in there and then start pouring it in your candles. I'm going to pour a little bit there. And a little bit there. I'm not pouring them all the way. Whoops, that almost spilled that. Because I want to cure them a little at a time. Remember, we cure them a little at a time to make sure that the resin gets cured all the way to the bottom. So I will take this piece and move it out of line of the light here, and we're going to cure these. I'm not worried about the pieces on the side, but I want to cure the layer a little bit here. There we go. Now we'll add some more. Once we have more pink. There we go. Now we're getting some purple. Uh-oh, it didn't sink down in there. So this one we can fill to right about there. Now let's see what's this one doing here. I guess it had a little bubble that it had cured past, so make sure this gets all the way in there. And squeeze the sides of your mold. That'll help to fill it. I'm not supposed to stir it, but I'm trying to get the bubbles out. Okay, so let's finish putting this in there. This is where you use your knife so you can get all of that out. It's the first time I've had to use the knife in these kits. Looks like we poured just the right amount, so I'm going to get what I can out of here. And that should be good. Since you don't have to worry about the wick on the other side, And this is a reusable cup. I'm probably going to clean it up and save it for at least some display. Look cute in a kitchen. Okay. Alright, so we've got all that in there. This goes here. Let them degas a minute. Tap them down. Use something to get any bubbles that are there. That one's a little full. I'm going to take a little out of that one. So I don't want it to be a bubble on the bottom. Okay. Swirl like that. Put these pieces here. Alright, we're going to put this under the big UV light, and we will come back and see what it looks like. Here's a little tip for you to store these. If you will keep your packaging and put them right back in there after you've cleaned them up, which I'm going to clean them up before I put them away. But put them back in your packaging like this and store them that way, and it will keep them nicer a lot longer. Okay, so these are done. We can take them out, see what they look like. We'll do the first one. It's hard to get a hold of it. Good hold of it. To push it out. Okay, so I took those out off camera. Out, and they're still a little wet. Go. And there's their little tray, and that's what they look like. They're cute. I like this worked out better doing the candles that way. So there's a little tip for you. Thanks for watching.